All right. Shalom Israel, Shalom, Shalom. This is Brother Warriala, and this is my channel, Rise of Israel. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, whose name, who many may call God or Yahweh, but like I said, whose name is Yahweh, right? And I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world will call Jesus Christ, but whose real name is Yahweh Shai in Paleo Hebrew. As you can see by the title, this is a video going into Babylon the Great, and who would Babylon the Great be today, right? This is not supposed to be some long, drawn out, you know, breakdown on Babylon the Great. This is just based off of simple, common understanding of the nation that we know today as America, and the ancient biblical or the prophecies pertaining to a futuristic nation according to the Bible. We're gonna, we're gonna talk about certain principles, certain words, that pertain to, you know, what it is that we know of to America as America today, as well as Babylon the Great, right, of old. So without further ado, I'm gonna get started into this video. Lord willing, this video is an edifying video through the Spirit. So real quick, bear with me. We're gonna start off by going into Babylon's connection to the Americas, right? So pretty much it's going to be just a quick couple little slides of Babylon the Great and its connection to the United States of America, right? And we'll continue with that, right? So this is the first one is Babylon as a global superpower, right? Because according to the scriptures, we know one thing about Babylon the Great, that it was known, that it that is a prophetic kingdom that is prophesied to be known as a global superpower, right? Let's keep going. So prophecy, we have Revelation chapter 17 and verse 18 that says, "The woman you saw is the great city that rules over the kings of the earth," right? So Babylon is a kingdom that is prophesied to have ruled over all the kings of the earth, right? Babylon is known to be that queen of the world, if I may. You know what I'm saying? It's known to be the ruler of the entire earth. You know what I'm saying? It is matter of fact, there's certain biblical prophecies, Salakia, real quick, that talk about Babylon being the golden city, right? Real quick, this is Isaiah chapter 14, and it's verse 4, and it says, "Thou shalt say that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased." Right? So Babylon will have been likened into a golden city, right? Matter of fact, I'll grab another precept real quick. Bear with me. That talks about this. When you go into the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, and Salakia, and verse 5, and it says this: "O beautiful Babylon, sit now in darkness and silence. Never again will you be known as the queen of kingdoms." Babylon was known at one point as the queen of kingdoms, meaning the ruler of all the kingdoms, right? Let's keep going. And we'll actually get to verse 6 and later on, or in another video maybe. But verse 7, it says, "You said, I will reign forever as queen of the world. You did not reflect on your actions or think about their consequences." Right? So again, Babylon would be the top nation on the top of the earth. Right? Quick little hint. In verse 6 it says, "For I was angry with my chosen people and punished them by letting them fall into your hands. But you, Babylon, showed them no mercy. You oppressed even the elderly." So again, quick little, side note, Babylon the Great will be a great kingdom, but also it would be a kingdom that would oppress the Israelites. But let's keep going. Jeremiah 51:7, it says, Babylon was a golden cup in the Lord's hand. She made the whole earth drink, the whole earth drunk. The nations drink of her wine. Therefore, they have now gone mad. Right, meaning all the nations of the earth would drink of the wine of Babylon the Great. They would drink of her philosophies. You see what I'm saying? They would drink of the things that, that America would produce all over the world, right? So we see that that's something that would pertain to biblical prophecy. What does it say in its alignment with the U.S.? The U.S. is a global economic and military superpower, influencing nations politically, culturally, and economically. Through globalization, the U.S. culture and ideals, example, democracy, capitalism, entertainment, have permeated the world, right? So Babylon's global, as a global superpower and as an influence, right? Again, it's not a complete in-depth, version of this, but real quick, just to add one more thing, look at something as simple as Salakia. Look at the Statue of Liberty, right? The Statue of Liberty. So we see the Statue of Liberty, Salakia. Matter of fact, I didn't mean to even go there. Right? Statue of Liberty. Liberty enlightening the world. That's literally what the Statue of Liberty's job was meant to be. You have a woman, right, lighting the whole earth with a torch that she has in her hands, right? Now I'm gonna see if it has any figurative. Okay, no, it doesn't. Right? Statue of Liberty. Let's see what it says. Height of copper statue. Okay. Type, criteria, official name, the Statue of Liberty, enlighten the world. So this is the official name of the Statue of Liberty, enlightening the world, right? This is what the Statue of Liberty is known for, right? Being a light to all nations, right? Let's see. The statue is a figure of a classical draped woman, likely inspired by the Roman goddess. Okay. See if there's anything that kind of goes into the symbolism, right? I don't think we'll be able to find it. Let me see. Alterations. Yeah, likely not. Okay, yeah. So what do we see? The Statue of Liberty is likened unto a woman, right? With a, matter of fact, a woman draped in a cloth, and the name of her is called the Light, the enlightening the world, Liberty enlightening the world, right? Let's grab this real quick in Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 12, and it says this: How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Again, Isaiah 14 is not talking about Satan, it's talking about Babylon the Great, right? O Lucifer, son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? So how did Babylon fall, right? Here's the point. Lucifer, the word we'll be going to is Lucifer. So real quick, when you look at the word Lucifer, it's all it means. Lucifer is a Latin word, Hallel, right? In the sense of brightness, enlightening, the light bearer, right? Again, the woman that had the cup in her hand that all nations drank of, it's the symbolism is giving Statue of Liberty, right? But also in the fact that it's called the light bearer, right? The shining one, morning star, Lucifer, like a Luciferian, of the king of Babylon, right? And Satan, figuratively. It's not talking about literal Satan. It's not talking about Satan at all, right? Hallel, describing the king of Babylon in the sense of brightness, the morning star. So this is the only time Lucifer's ever used in the scriptures. It's in its reference to someone being a light bearer, meaning a light for nations to go to, right? Literally, that's literally the whole purpose of it, right? So let me grab this real quick because I wanted to add to that. Babylon being known as a light to all the nations. You know, and I'm probably going to just stop it at that. I may grab it real quick in the NLT, but I want to keep on going because I don't want to take too long. Isaiah 14 and 12, and it says, "How are you falling from heaven, O shining star, son of the morning? You have been thrown down to the earth, you who destroyed the nations of the world." So Babylon will be a light, a nation that is known as the light bearer to all nations, that will have a global influence for all nations, and yet still be known as Salakia, the bright morning star. But real quick, one more, real quick in Jeremiah, Salakia chapter 51 and verse 7. It says, "As Babylon has been a gold cup in the Lord's hand, a cup that made the whole earth drunk. The nations drank Babylon's wine, and it drove them mad." Meaning they followed the philosophy of Babylon, and they were driven crazy, right? And that's where the earth is going right now. But let's go to the next point: wealth and commerce. Revelation 18 and 3. "The merchants of the earth grew rich from her excessive luxuries." Right? So it's telling you that the merchants all over the earth were able to gain such a level of prosperity when coming to Babylon the Great. You know what I'm saying? We understand that, you know, even we look at Ellis Island, which is another point I meant to bring up, and its contribution to the idea of Babylon being that melting pot or that light bearer for all the nations to come nearer. We understand that the Ellis Island was directly related to the Statue of Liberty. Meaning, when people came into Ellis Island, what they see? They see the Statue of Light, of Liberty. They've seen Babylon. That's like the embodiment of Babylon, right? But let's keep going. Revelation 18:11 and 13 describes Babylon's trade in luxury goods like gold, silver, and fine linens. So we understand that Babylon will be a nation that is great in commerce, right? I'll grab this real quick in Revelation chapter 18. Right? Revelation chapter 18. Real quick, I'll start at verse 9, because this is beautiful. Revelation 18 and 9. "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning." Meaning all the nations that worked and committed fornication with her, meaning those who followed the gods of Babylon, or who stopped following their own heritages and followed the heritage of Babylon the Great. Real quick, one way we know that for sure is because look what it says in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14 and 12. This fornication that these other nations are engaging in with Babylon the Great is not a literal fornication. It is a spiritual fornication, right? So in Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 12, it says, "For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life," right? So Babylon the Great is a nation that is known for spiritual fornication, right? A nation that is known for having a bunch of idols that people will fall into worshiping, right? Let's jump down. So they're gonna watch and see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, "Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy torment, thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore." Wow. So it's telling you that the nations that dwelt with Babylon, they're going to be sad because someone didn't buy their merchandise. Because Babylon was known to be the one that would engage in such merchandise, right? And again, when you read through 13, it tells you all the different things that will be found in Babylon, right? I'll just read them real quick. "The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and of fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and fine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of precious wood, and of brass, and of iron, and of marble, and of cinnamon, and odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and slaves, and slaves, and souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. So again, Babylon would be a nation that would be known for these things and would lose them all. The alignment with the U.S. The U.S. is a global hub for trade and wealth. Wall Street is a symbol of economic dominance, and America's consumer culture reflects excessive luxury and materialism. Let's keep going. Babylon's connection to the Americas continued. Moral corruption and influence, right? So we read in Revelation 17:2, where it says, with her, the kings of the earth committed adultery, right? I read this similarly, them committing that spiritual fornication. And the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries, right? They were intoxicated, meaning they were drunk off of the ways of this woman, right? When a person is drunk, they're, in a way, they're subject unto whatever the other person wants them to do, right? They're easily influenced, and that's what it's talking about. These other nations, they've been influenced by America and Babylon the Great to follow her ways, right? Isaiah 47:8, and it says, now then, listen, you lover of pleasure, lounging in your security and saying to yourself, I am, and there is none beside me, right? So Babylon is known for being that lover of pleasure. It's a pleasure-loving kingdom, right? And because of America, immoral corruption and spiritual wickedness has been influenced all over the world, right? Simply by the hand of Babylon, right? Babylon the Great, right? Well, which we would call America, right? Because America is known as a pleasure-loving country. Let's keep going. Alignment with the U.S. The U.S. is often criticized for promoting moral decline through entertainment, media, and cultural exports, right? Porn started in America. You see what I'm saying? All different types of weird wickedness came from America. You know what I'm saying? Television. You see what I'm saying? All these things came from America, right? Modern values of individualism. Salakia. Modern values of individualism and materialism align with imagery of indulgence and arrogance. Prime example. Again, this is a nation that has all these similarities, right? Number 4, sudden destruction. Prophecies like Revelation 18:8, and one day her plagues will overtake her, death, mourning, and famine. She will be consumed by fire. For mighty is Salakia. For mighty is the Lord God who judges her, right? We see that there will be a judgment on Babylon the Great, right? Jeremiah 50:9, it says, for I will stir up and bring against Babylon an alliance of great nations from the land of the north, right? How does this even relate to Babylon? To America, because America's never been judged, right? But let's look what it says. The U.S.'s reliance on military dominance and its geopolitical position could make it vulnerable to a sudden collapse or a coordinated attack. The description of Babylon's destruction could parallel a catastrophic event such as a war, economic collapse, or divine judgment, right? And in the point with that is we see that America is on what you would call an island, right? It's its own continent for sure, North America, but we understand that America solely, it really sits by itself, and there's really no other dominant competition anywhere near United States of America at all, right? And for many years, that's been the blessing that Babylon has had. I can touch you, but you can't touch me. You know, Babylon, America has been extremely safe. You see what I'm saying, from all destruction. But the one thing that made Babylon safe, or one thing that made America safe, could possibly inevitably be its Achilles heel, the thing that causes it to fall apart, right? But let's keep going. Babylon's connection to the Americas continued, right? Babylon as a center of trade, right? Prophecy, biblical prophecy. What does it say? Revelation 18:17. Every sea captain And all who travel by ship, the sailors and all who earn their living from the sea, will stand far off when they see the smoke of her burning. They will exclaim, was there ever a city like this great city? And they'll look and be like, wow, was there ever a city like this great and wonderful city? Right? And it'll be, and look, and it'll be, it's talking about that they'll be traveling by ship and seeing that Babylon the Great is burned and destroyed, showing that this is not no small thing. You know what I'm saying? It has to happen to a place that is on an island like Babylon the Great or like America, right? It's in alignment with the U.S. As major global importer and exporter, the U.S. dominates international trade. That's obvious. New York City, home to the New York Stock Exchange, symbolizes economic centrality, kind of like we read before. Babylon's religious confusion, right? It says in Revelation 17:5, the name written on her head was a mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and of the abominations of the earth, right? It says, Slakia. It says, verse 52, Jeremiah 50:2, it says, declare among the nations, proclaim and raise up a banner, proclaim and hide nothing, and say, Babylon is captured, Bel is shamed, and Marduk is shattered. Meaning all the idols of Babylon will have been destroyed. How does this align with the U.S., right? The U.S. is home to a wide variety of religious beliefs, ideologies, and practices, including some that conflict with biblical principles. The concept of freedom of religion allows for both faith and practices that could be seen as idolatrous or abominable. America is extremely unique in that aspect. It is a place where different religions aren't just, they're not just expressed, allowed to be expressed, that they're actually pushed. You see what I'm saying? Like America wants you to have these freedoms. You see what I'm saying? This is a place that is full of idolatrous images and practices. Let's keep going. Number 7, Salakia. It says Babylon's connection to America's continued oppression and exploitation. Biblical prophecy, right? Revelation 18:13 mentions trade in bodies and souls of men, right? Which some interpret as human exploitation or slavery, right? Jeremiah 51:24, I will repay Babylon all the inhabitants of Chaldees for all the evil they have done in Zion before their eyes, right? Because Babylon would be known as a place that would destroy the children of Israel, right? How does this align with the U.S.? The U.S. has a history of slavery and systemic exploitation, which some views as fulfilling its prophecy. Modern concerns about labor exploitation and human trafficking also align with this interpretation. Let's keep going. This is the last one. Babylon's arrogance. Isaiah 47:10. You have trusted in your wickedness and have said, no one sees me. Your wisdom and knowledge mislead you. When you say to yourself, I am, and there is none besides me. All right, alignment with the U.S. The U.S.'s role as a superpower has sometimes been characterized by arrogance, reflecting its foreign policies and cultural attitudes, right? So what do we see about America? We see that America will be known as, or Babylon the Great will be known as this great kingdom to rule over the earth, that all nations will come into. Freedom. All different gods and idols will be here. The oppression of the children of Israel, and an inevitable destruction for what they did to the children of Israel, right? Now I have one simple question for you. If Babylon the Great is, in fact, America, then who are the children of Israel? Who are the children of Israel? And that's when we get to our next part. Boom. Right. So real quick, then, I may have likely split up this video into 2 separate parts. it will likely not be one video, but I may just do it and do both. But let's start off with this, right? I asked ChatGPT to answer this question. Again, this is not logged into my own ChatGPT account. This is a unlogged in account, and I brought up a few verses, a couple, a little bit of verses that talked about prophecies of the children of Israel being in Babylon the Great, right? So I just asked ChatGPT this question: if America is considered Mystery Babylon, then who would be the northern and southern kingdom of Israel that is oppressed together in Babylon? Simple question, and this is an unbiased app that I'm using, right? It says, as your question connects multiple biblical prophecies and passages to a modern concept of a mystery Babylon, particularly linking it with America, a common interpretation in certain theological and Hebrew Israelite teachings. Let's unpack the biblical framework you're drawing from and then directly address your central questions, right? So it goes on to say biblical foundation summary, key points, Isaiah 47:6. God allowed his people, Israel, to fall into Babylon's hands as judgment. Babylon showed no mercy, right? Jeremiah 50:33, Israel and Judah are pressed together in Babylon. The Redeemer is strong and will plead their cause. Both northern and southern kingdom will be in Babylon. Jeremiah 50:1-7, also verse 11 and 18-20. God will judge Babylon, restore Israel and Judah, and cleanse them of sin. Revelation 11:8, 17 and 18, and it says, the great city, called Babylon the Great, is spiritually corrupt and responsible for persecuting the saints. It says that their bodies lie in the streets, right? America as Mystery Babylon. In some interpretations, especially within the Hebrew Israelite, some evangelical and end-time prophecy circles, America is identified as Mystery Babylon due to its global influence, moral decay, and history of oppression. This is not something that's exclusive to a Hebrew Israelite belief. It's not. It's not. We just, if it's true, multiple different platforms will agree with it. But let's keep going. So if America is Mystery Babylon, who are the northern and southern kingdom of Israel pressed together in Babylon today, right? Let's go with, let's keep reading. Biblical context, northern kingdom. Again, this is according to, now what they're using right here is how we would describe it as the Israelite understanding, right? Northern kingdom equals house of Israel, 10 tribes led by Ephraim, scattered by Assyria. Southern kingdom, house of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, exiled to Babylon, right? Interpretations based on the Hebrew Israelite and certain theological teachings. If America is Babylon, then the northern kingdom, represented by so-called Latino, Native American, and indigenous peoples, scattered tribes of Israel. These groups are believed by many Hebrew Israelite camps to descend from the 10 lost tribes, historically oppressed, colonized, enslaved, and stripped of identity. The southern kingdom, represented by so-called African Americans, descendants of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, brought to America via the transatlantic slave trade, suffered slavery, systemic oppression, and cultural erasure, right? And it goes on to say, Jeremiah 50:33 applied, thus saith the Lord, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. In this interpretation, the oppression of both the southern and northern kingdom in America fulfills this prophecy. Again, I did not tell ChatGPT that I believe anything about Israelites, the northern southern kingdom being black and Hispanics and Native Americans. I never said that once. It's not in any of this. You can look. Not once did I say that this had to do anything with black or Hispanic people once at all, right? This is all completely, ChatGPT's mind or whatever it has, right? Let's keep going. Restoration theme. Jeremiah and Isaiah speak of future redemption, where both houses of Israel return to the Most High. Their sins are forgiven and Babylon is judged. In Revelation, Mystery Babylon is destroyed by divine judgment and the faithful remnant, spiritual awakened Israelites are redeemed. Conclusion. If America is Mystery Babylon, then the northern kingdom is believed to be Latino, Native, and indigenous peoples, and the southern kingdom is the African American descendants of slaves. Together they are seen as the oppressed houses of Israel in modern Babylon, America, fulfilling the prophecies in Jeremiah 50, Isaiah 47, and Revelation, right? Asked me if I would like them to break down a visual chart. No. I said, what would be the most accurate conclusion for someone to come to? How do you see it? So what would be the most accurate conclusion for a person to come to, right? So it's a great question. You're asking an honest, accurate, and balanced conclusion based on biblical prophecy, history, and modern interpretations. So let's approach this with both scriptural grounding and critical clarity. This is ChatGPT's opinion, right? You're essentially asking, if America is mystery Babylon, who are Israel and Judah, the people oppressed together in it today, right? And what's the most accurate conclusion a person should draw from all of this? Let's take it into two parts, right? ChatGPT is going to bring up two understandings of these specific verses that I brought to ChatGPT, right? And it says this: what does the text say? Scriptural facts. Israel and Judah were once two separate kingdoms, northern and southern kingdom, but God promised to reunite them in the last days. That's Ezekiel 31, 37 and 1 on down all day, right? From the beginning of that chapter to the end. Jeremiah 50 clearly says that both would be oppressed together in Babylon, and that God would redeem them together. Revelation calls Babylon the great city that persecutes the saints and is eventually judged and destroyed. Isaiah 47 shows that God used Babylon to punish his people, but Babylon overstepped and will be judged for it, right? So we understand this is the context. What's the most reasonable interpretation today? Here are the leading interpretations and my assessment for their accuracy and consistency. Interpretation 1, America equals Babylon, oppressed peoples equals true Israel, Hebrew Israelite view, right? Again, I didn't tell ChatGPT the Hebrew Israelite view. It says America fits the profile of mystery Babylon, global power, moral corruption, history of slavery and oppression. African Americans equal Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Israelites don't even say that African Americans are the entire Southern Kingdom. We say African Americans, people of Jamaican and West Indies, descent, men that came over to the transatlantic slave trade, and the same thing with Haitians and so on and so forth, and many men in Brazil, in places where Africans were exported, right? Latinos, Native Americans, Northern Kingdom, 10 tribes, right? Fulfillment of Jeremiah 15:33, oppressed together in modern day Babylon. Here's the strengths that ChatGPT chooses to say. Historically grounded, America did enslave and oppress these groups. Spiritually consistent. Both groups suffered identity loss, captivity, and colonization. It does match biblical themes of scattered Israel, regathering, judgment, and redemption. Limitations. This is what ChatGPT believes the limitations are. Not all of those ethnicities may trace literal lineage to ancient Israel. I didn't say that they would anyway. And it requires accepting that Israel is defined by physical descent, which not all Christians or scholars agree on. Again, imagine this being a limitation, that we require that Israel is defined by a physical descent. Like the Bible doesn't say that, because the Bible does say it, right? Here's ChatGPT's evaluation, right? It says this is a strong symbolic and prophetic interpretation. Even if you don't accept all historical lineages as literal, the pattern of oppression, captivity, and spiritual awakening fits the prophecy extremely well. Here, and I want to grab this quick scripture real quick. And I've grabbed this before in previous videos, but I really think, Lord willing, I can find it. Isaiah chapter like 50 something. I'm gonna go 51. Be the most highest will. 51:11 maybe. Therefore redeemed, not 50:11. Damn, not 50:11. Salakia. Stride the sea, the waters. Man, the Most High be with me. Depart ye, Salakia. Bear with me. 53. Salakia. 54. Bear with me. Man, it's not 55. Oh, here we go. Watch this. This is Isaiah 55 in verse 10, and it says, For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth in bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and breath to the eater, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. So just like water rains from the sky, right? And snow comes down and it replenishes the earth and something grows later. It's the same way the Most High word works. Meaning the Most High, he'll make a prophecy and the prophecy comes exactly how the Most High God wanted it to happen. And there's no way you can change that, right? Here's another one. Real quick, bear with me. Watch this. Here's another one. Ezekiel 36:21, it says, "But I had pity for my holy name, which the house of Israel have profaned among the heathen, whither they went. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, Thus saith the Lord God, I do this not for your sakes." Meaning the Most High God doesn't have the redemption of Israel happen for our sakes, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whither they went. And I will sanctify my name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord, when I shall sanctify in you before their eyes. And I will take you from among the heathen, and gather you out of all the countries, and will bring you into your own land. God isn't doing this because Israel, he owes it to Israel. He does it because of his name's sake, right? Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you. Let's get back to it, right? So again, it fits biblical prophecy extremely well. Many aspects align with Jeremiah, Isaiah, and Revelation. Interpretation 2. Mystery Babylon is spiritual, global system, not just America, right? Claims Babylon equals global system of political, economic, and religious corruption. Sure. Israel and Judah, the collective church or faithful believers, not ethnic. Focuses more on spiritual oppression than ethnic identity, right? So they focus on your faith, you know what I'm saying? You identifying, being a part of the church, the multi-ethnic church. It's just not strong, right? The strengths, broader application, fits worldwide corruption, not just America. Supported by mainstream Christianity, eschatology. See, it's emphasizes faith, not lineage. And none of these are even really strengths, right? And it doesn't emphasize faith, because faith would be emphasizing faith would be what's found in the prophecies, having faith in the prophecies, right? But let's keep going. Limitation, it ignores or downplays the literal prophecies about Israel's physical descendants returning and being gathered. Can spiritualize away the specific promises made to the tribes of Israel. I like how ChatGPT put it, because it'll spiritualize away the specific promises God made. God made specific promises to Israel, and the multi-ethnic church wipes it all away. Let's keep going. My evaluation. This is ChatGPT's evaluation. Accurate in some points. Revelation does use, spiritual language, but it often detaches prophecy from its original context. The literal descendants of Israel. This can erase the people who are central to the covenant, right? That's exactly what it does, and that's why I had to say, for the Most High's sake, will He be doing this for Israel, not for His own, not for Israel's sake, not because Israel disobeyed Him, but because He wanted to, right? Let's keep going. So what's the most accurate conclusion? My honest, balanced conclusion, right? And we're almost done. All right, Salakia. I don't want to make it do too much. How do you see? I was just there. 1 second, Salakia. Okay, here we go. So what's the most accurate conclusion? Most honest and balanced conclusion. The biblical prophets foresaw a time when both Israel and Judah would be together in captivity in a system or nation resembling Babylon, and would be redeemed together. If America is Mystery Babylon, the people most likely fulfilling the roles of Israel and Judah oppressed together are those who were, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna read it slowly. If America is Mystery Babylon, the people most likely fulfilling the roles of Israel and Judah oppressed together are those who do what? those who were historically enslaved, colonized, and scattered, lost their heritage, language, and knowledge of the Most High, are now awakening to their identity and seeking to follow God's commandments again. And it doesn't just say it in Jeremiah 50:4. It says it in Deuteronomy 30:1 on down, Baruch 2:30, 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 46 on down, and many other verses that talk about it, right? This point most clearly to African Americans, Judah, Southern Kingdom, Latin, Native, and Indigenous peoples, Israel, Northern Kingdom. They fulfill the history, captivity, and oppression, the prophetic pattern, oppressed together in Babylon and America, the spiritual awakening, turning back to the Most High God, and the promise of redemption. That is what ChatGPT said. I didn't even say that, right? How I see it, this is how ChatGPT see it. Here's the straight answer. I think the interpretation that identifies oppressed, colonized peoples in the Americas, particularly those descended from slaves and indigenous populations, as fulfilling the prophetic roles of Judah and Israel and modern Babylon, is the most coherent. Look, it didn't say it's the more coherent. It's the most coherent, historically grounded, and biblically consistent view. That's how ChatGPT sees it. That's how in artificial intelligence that has no opinion. That's how they see it, right? I couldn't make this up. I literally couldn't make this. I couldn't possibly make something like this up, right? It honors the literal meaning of prophecy, matches real historical events, slavery, captivity, erasure of identity, and it explains why both houses of Israel are awakening spiritually together now. I couldn't have said it better. It doesn't mean every detail is perfectly literal or provided approvable by DNA, which we don't use DNA, but the spiritual pattern is too strong to ignore. Man. I mean, that's pretty much it, man. I mean, I could go on for another 2 hours about this. But this is something that was kind of a little more grounded, a little more compact, you know. But there you go. ChatGPT says it. If America were to be Babylon, the most coherent, historically grounded, and biblically consistent view would have to be that Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans are the Israelites according to the Bible. That's why I tell people, if Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans are not the Israelites according to the Bible, then the Bible cannot be real. We prove that the Bible is real. We are living proof. Just like when the Messiah came, and again, we take the position that the Israelites today that follow Christ are the body of Christ, right? When Christ came, Philip found Nathanael and told him, this is who the biblical prophecy, this is who the law and the prophets talked about. Jesus Christ, the son of Joseph. That's John 1:45. He cited scriptures and then showed its relevance in the modern time. That day of that time was that Christ fulfills it because he comes from David and all the things that we see coming out of him, right? Okay, so it asked if you like, I can break this into a simpler chart or timeline showing the prophecy and its modern fulfillment. Would that help? I said sure. Here's a simple, clean timeline comparison chart to help visualize how the prophecies in Israel and Judah and Babylon connect to a modern interpretation. Again, you can look at it. I mean, I didn't look at this part. I just kind of continued. Literally, it's irrelevant to me. But we did everything we had to do. Lord willing, is edifying video through the Spirit. I may split this up into 2 videos if it be the Most High's will. Or I may just put the whole thing in. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that many views anyway. But this is definitely a very informal, a very formal way to kind of keep everything compact. But Lord willing, is edifying video through the Spirit. I have to give all the glory to the Most High God Yahweh. By Hashem Mashiach Malak Shai. I like to bid everybody strong shalom. Kwame Asherallah, shalom.